So I've been reviewing a lot of chess in media, and today we're gonna look at The Simpsons. The satiric half-hour adventures of a working-class family? Yeah. No. Maybe when the show started, this is what a working-class house looks like, but in the modern-day USA, this is not where a working-class family lives. So the episode we're looking at today is Season 28, Episode 15, Cat and the Hat.
Whoa, look out.
I'll be honest, it makes me so nostalgic hearing that. So the episode begins on the beach.
I am honored to announce that these waters are now safe to swim in.
Of course, they're gonna have a swim day.
We just lowered the safety standards.
Okay, maybe they shouldn't have a beach day. Oh no, oh no, oh no. I'm just going to assume that it's steel. It's some sort of solution of nitric acid. And I was curious, how much would you need? 50 to 70% nitric acid. Now, it dissolved in a couple of seconds. So I'm gonna assume it's at the upper end.
Okay, who's up for a day at the beach?
You are a horrible dad. Bort is my favorite Simpson character. So here we introduce chess. We can see just the starting position of the Petrov, which is this defense with e4, e5, knight f3, knight f6. Only the board is set up wrong, and white is missing a bishop. And Homer gets dragged to this game over here. So Homer is immediately analyzing the board position over here. I was kind of fearful when I first looked at this because it's a 2D show, but the pieces are actually super clearly drawn. So I could recreate the board position quite clearly. And as you can see by the evil bar over here, the position is already quite hopeless. This king is essentially stuck in a mating net. The only way that you can avoid immediate checkmate is by giving up the rook. So Homer takes a look. The old man over here picks up the bishop, and Homer immediately identifies it as a mistake. Which is true, because if you hear take, it's just made in one.
Checkmate. Ha!
Yeah, that pawn is floating.
Do you even know the names of the pieces?
There's the king.
True.
Mrs. King.
Strongest chess piece. The Mrs. King is the strongest piece in chess. That can't be right.
And who could forget Dr. Horse?
Now, I know that one's wrong. The horse in chess is called the Dr. Horse. What is going on?
Checkmate.
Something interesting happens in this scene. So when we see the board over here, it's set up like this. Here, indeed, it is made in one with the move knight to g3. The pawn can't take the knight because it's pinned to the king, and the bishop takes away its only escape square. But when we see the board again, the king has actually moved. It's now standing on a light square, meaning the second time we see the board, it's actually set up like this. I think it's just an animation error, but this would actually make the mate in one impossible, because the knight here is pinned to the king.
Another victim of the Budapest Gambit.
So apparently Homer played the Budapest Gambit. So the Budapest Gambit is this d4 opening where you gambit your e-pawn. You might think, oh, this is obviously quite bad. And the engine says it's about a +1 advantage. It's actually more tricky than you'll think.
That leads to mate in 3.
Okay, so we see another chessboard. I recognize this game. This is the famous Ready versus Tartakower game. So I thought we're gonna do something fun. I am going to set it up just purely based on memory. And to try and prove it to you a little bit, I'm not gonna make a single cut until I've said the words, I think I've done it. So it started with the Caro-Kann defense, classical variation, and it was this sort of knight f6. Now I'm gonna just quickly turn this off, and I'm gonna turn this off. So the way I remember this, I know that was a very strange move coming with queen to d3, and I also remember that the bishop blocked. So if my memory serves me right, it was pawn e5, which was taken, and instead of trading the queens, check, bishop t2 and take. So now we need the alignment on the d file, so short castles, and I don't know if this or this was played. I just am going to guess this. And then here, this is the position where we see the mate in 3. So I think I've done it. All right, I did a quick little fact check, and I am right. So, haha. I'm a little bit proud of myself. It's only 8 moves, but you know, it's cool. The mate in 3 is really stunning. It is here the move queen to d8. Oh, what a beauty. The king doesn't have any legal moves apart from capturing bishop to g5. Now, the knight can't take because it's actually a double check. If you had played king to e8, then we have this rook d8 checkmate. I think this is called Morphy mate. The alternative is king to c7. And here the mate, I think, is even more beautiful. It's bishop d8. What a beauty.
Hey, I do not like to see that going on in my bar.
Okay. Sorry, I like that joke. So we see a couple boards again. So this first board position here is actually really famous. So this was the famous opera game played by Paul Morphy, and it's a real beauty. So the game here ended with this really spectacular sacrifice. Knight takes b5. This was taken. Bishop check, long castles. After rook to d8. Paul Morphy identified that this bishop was actually a much better piece than this rook. So he played rook takes d7. And then just swing the other piece in. Every single piece here is playing. This knight being pinned is right now a huge liability. So queen to e6 was played. Bishop takes d7. Knight takes d7. Queen to b8. And it's just so pretty. It's a forced mate. Knight takes and rook d8. And this again, Morphy mate. The second board is simply just the right liver, which is another very well-known position in chess. If you're a beginner, it's one of the most common openings. If here in the Italian you play knight f6, knight g5 is a sideline. It's called a knight attack. There's a fork threatened, so after the move pawn d5 here, if we take, this is called the fright liver. And it's refuted by a really beautiful knight sacrifice. Knight takes f7. Of course, this is a fork. King takes here. And then after queen to f3, the only way to keep the knight protected is by moving your king out. And from here, play just goes on.
So, Homer, how did you get so good at chess?
I played against my dad.
So we learn Homer's tragic backstory.
Every time he won, he left that horrible...
And yeah, this is checkmate. So this is called false mate. It's the shortest possible mate in chess. Then Homer took chess lessons, learned a game that drove Bobby Fischer crazy. So Bobby Fischer was the only American world chess champion. And yeah, he maybe has the most controversial legacy of any chess player.
Homer, listen, hey.
Then Mo over here finds out that the reason why Homer's so good at chess is because it mirrors his desire to beat his dad. Yeah. That is just accurate. So because of this, Homer wants to give up on chess, and then the cameo of the century. Oh, I'm so excited.
Well, I don't think any chess master or even international master could understand how I feel.
I'm world chess champion Magnus Carlsen.
Yes! Yes! Yes, yes, yes! Not to smack talk Magnus, but his acting in this was awful. And also, I think the reason why they used him via Skype instead of having him show up as an actual person is because his microphone is just so crap.
When I heard a fellow chess player had a mental problem, I Skyped him once.
I'm not a chess player anymore.
Homer, I'm afraid you cannot run away from chess.
This is also very accurate. If you think about quitting chess, I'll see you back in a month.
I got into chess was because it didn't involve running.
I share your disdain for exercise. Now I will say something with all the emotion a Norwegian can muster. Fine. You must finish your final chess match with your father.
Then Homer, following Magnus's advice, decides to challenge his dad. So the epic match begins. Then next time we see the board, this position is reached. Now there's a huge problem with this board position. I could just be an idiot, but I don't see a black queen anywhere. Either the position is just dead lost, or it's some sort of animation error. So this is the board position that was reached. I'm just gonna assume it's an animation error, and there's actually supposed to be a queen on d8. And if that's the case, we can try to reconstruct the game. Now, I can't be 100% certain of the move order, because we only get a couple shots. I'm just going by what makes the most sense to me. Knight d7, but you're just trying to play e5. Another good thing about knight bd7 is if white here takes, there's no queen trade. So instead Homer plays c4, which is sort of normal. Both sides castle, knight c3. And about c6, it blocks out two pieces simultaneously. Homer is a good chess player, so he plays in the middle of the board. On h6. Now h6 doesn't make the most sense. If you look at the Masters database over here, it's been played. Now pushing isn't actually a great decision, but as we can see, it has been played. The reason why I say that, let's say we play h3. Black isn't really ever threatening to take, because white is just much better. We're immediately threatening knight to f5. Also, we have an annoying bind on black's position. And now c6 actually created a huge weakness, because this pawn push makes it so our d6 pawn is unprotected. Because of that, there's no reason to play d5 immediately. Here your center is actually really strong, but after this we're weakening, for example, the c5 square. Here Homer plays h3, which is somewhat sensible. He wants to develop the bishop to e3, but he doesn't want to deal with knight g4. Grandpa plays knight to f8, which is just not great. Good chess is played in the center, so here you need to put a knight there. Now Homer plays the move knight e2. It's not the top line of the computer, but it's a really sensible plan. First of all, we're overprotecting e4. We're also protecting c4. But more importantly, we're floating the idea of pushing our f-pawn. And here Grandpa decides to completely overreact with g5. This is just not a good move. Next time we see the board again, Homer's given his knight for it to be brushed. And we went from this position to this one. And Homer picks up this knight, gives it to Mars to brush, and then puts it on c4, which is a great move. White is just much better here. This is mostly because Black's king is just very weak, and White has a simple time bringing all their pieces to the king side to start an attack. And then finally we see the board again, and it looks like this. This is really obvious. White is completely winning. You can just count the material to figure this out. It's just completely game over. And if I put it on the board like this, the computer already gives mate in 6. Homer realizes that he loves his father more than he cares about beating him. If your dad is this upset over you beating him, that's kind of strange. I feel like most fathers would just be proud. In his defense, the entire town is watching. Maybe he took it a bit too far. So yeah, the episode ends and the message is kind of sweet. Family is stronger than chess or whatever. That would be all for me. I hope you liked this video. YouTube thinks you like this one. I worked very hard on it, so maybe give it a watch or maybe not. And I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.